When I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, you dressed 5 running backs for the game, for crying out loud. And I'm looking at a guy in James Conner that ultimately played. And I know he's no scrub. Please don't get me wrong. Maybe I've been spoiled by Le'Veon Bell, but he just doesn't move me. His story moves me. It's an incredible story. And I know he can play, and he's not a scrub. But he's a guy that just, he trudges along and what have you. And I know he's been out because he was out from week 8, came back in week 11, but re-aggravated his shoulder, ultimately played last night, averaged about 5 yards a carry, but only had about 8 carries, so they've got to monitor his workload. You look at Devlin Hodges, I like the kid a lot, but the biggest reason I like Devlin Hodges is because he ain't Mason Rudolph. That's the biggest reason I like him. It's not like he's some difference maker. So when I look at what Mike Tomlin has to work with offensively, James Washington, I'm very proud of his progress, but I think he'd be even better if he were a number 2 option if Juju Smith-Schuster was on that field with him, which he wasn't. Vance McDonald wasn't on the field as well. You just look at what the Steelers are enduring. It's amazing that they're even in this position, holding on to the 6th spot, and they deserve a lot of credit for it. But to me, it just spoke to what they were because the Bills went up against a 4th-string quarterback last night and virtually damn near a 3rd-string offense. That's what I view, and that's what I saw.
Well, there's no doubt. And by the way, you should mark this down because Stephen A. was right about this one. We argued this last week. And, you're right so infrequently when you debate with me, Stephen A., that when you are, it's like a major thing.
America doesn't hear you because they know that you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
But Stephen A., you were right when you talked about, look, the Bills and the Steelers, we both agreed they're similar in certain ways. And even McDermott and Tomlin go back and all that stuff. But the difference is, you were talking about Josh Allen, and I thought, you know what? I like this Duck Hodges. I think he can do something. But he, over time, when you have a backup, whether you consider him 2nd, 3rd, 4th string, whatever, where on the depth chart, when you have a backup quarterback, most of the time, there's a reason he's a backup. And he can look like he can, he doesn't pass a lot, but he's accurate and he takes some shots down the field. And that can work for a while, but over time against good defenses, you'll get exposed. But I learned more about the Bills here, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a tendency to think that when the offense isn't doing stuff, then nothing is happening. That means the defense is doing stuff. And these are 2 terrific defenses. And so Hodges couldn't do a whole lot with the Bills' defense. But you got to give Josh Allen credit. He does enough. We've seen Lamar Jackson change the league because if you can run and you're not that Allen's as accurate as Lamar Jackson, but if you run and you can throw from the pocket, they'll design offenses around you more nowadays. And so when they do that with Trubisky, when they do that with Josh Allen, guys who can run and throw where you don't have this very high opinion of them, but when they're able to do what they need to do, they can be effective. Allen gives you a premium over some backup quarterback. Whatever you think of his upside, whether he's going to be a great franchise quarterback or just a starter who has some special characteristics at his size and everything and with his running ability and his big arm, whatever you think of him, he's not Duck Hodges. He's not just a good backup, and he's not just a kind of borderline replacement level guy. He's something extra. He's a guy who can make the plays necessary in a really tough defensive contest to get you the win on a playoff team against a playoff level defense. And it was shown, that contrast between him and a guy who can't do that was shown in the Bills-Steelers game. I actually learned more about the Bills.
Yeah, and I agree with you too, Max. I learned more about the Bills. I think what we saw from the Steelers were things that we've known. And I believe in knowing those things is a huge reason why all of us have sat at that desk, or me sitting on this side, and said that Mike Tomlin deserves to be in consideration for Coach of the Year, because we understood he was playing with a guy who was the 4th-string quarterback during the preseason and training camp. He's playing without who was supposed to be his number 1 option. But when you look at the Buffalo Bills, and when you play a team that's depleted of talent in the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers are, you're supposed to make them look like that. And that's what this defense is. When you look at Tre'Davious White, he's a guy who's in the conversation as a top 3 cornerback in this league. Tremaine Edmonds is going to be a star at the middle linebacker position for the Buffalo Bills. And then they pressure the quarterback and force you into bad throws. And when you're forced into bad throws, they make you pay.
The Buffalo Bills went against a 4th-string quarterback and basically a 3rd-string offense.
Right.
No one disagrees with that, okay? What did the Buffalo Bills do en route to their 10-win season thus far in the first 14 games? They smashed the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving, okay? They sat up there and they played New England 16-10 encounter early in the season. They beat the Tennessee Titans, etc. What I'm saying to you is there were moments during this season where we looked at the Buffalo Bills and we said, whoa, wait a minute here. We got to pay attention to what we're seeing going on because the Buffalo Bills are a team to be reckoned with. They're just their quarterback, if he could get some experience under him. They had a running game. They got a defense. They play smash mouth football. They were universally recognized as being exceptionally well coached by a very disciplined and, as Mike Tomlin would say about his former teammate at William Mary in the 90s, Sean McDermott, a laser-focused guy. So these are the things that we were saying about the Bills before last night's game against a fourth-string offense, a fourth-string quarterback and a third-string offense. And we're going to sit there and act like we learned so much about the Bills.
Be honest about this. Be honest about this. You didn't have questions still about Josh Allen.
Yes.
It's not like there's any one moment, but we're getting more and more information about the guy. Listen, as Ryan pointed out, because he's a dual threat guy, in big moments, you have to worry about his physical ability that you can't account for.
But what I'm saying you're not hearing about me is I'm saying with or without Josh Allen, because of the depleted state of affairs with Pittsburgh, I thought they would lose this game to Buffalo. That's what I'm saying.
Stephen A., that's what I'm saying. You thought they would lose the game to Buffalo, so how did we necessarily learn things about them? When you look at Duck Hodges, even though we've wanted to say, okay, he's played well enough, we knew that he wasn't going to be the guy. Or he wasn't that guy.
No. That's not true. That's not true. We were asking things about Devlin Hodges because our level of fascination was growing with this kid because somehow, some way, he didn't mess up what the Steelers defense did for you when you knew how depleted they were offensively. But we were going to find out because they were going up against that Bills defense. But we absolutely know what the Bills are because that's who we're going to see come playoff time. We don't know what the hell we're going to see from the Steelers week to week. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.